Often people will ask me, why did I get into coaching? And as I turned 62 this year in December, I reflect, I think about how did I get into this field? And it's a field that I love. It's something that I get up every day excited to go and do. I don't think I've had a bad day in a long, long time. Yet it started probably around 40 years ago at IBM in a college internship. I'll never forget it. And I didn't really think about sharing this story until I saw a motivational speaker, Clint Pulver, talk about. And he talks about he believes a moment in time can change everything. And I believe that because we actually teach it in our coaching course, Progress Coaching, defining moments. You can have an impact on somebody in a moment that can last for a long time. So when I watched Clint's motivational video and I watched some of the things that he had shared, I thought to myself, that happened to me in a different context, yet that happened to me. Let me explain. Years ago, I was working at a YMCA and I ended up joining IBM. And I remember looking back, and I think there was naivete, immaturity, really lacking a lot of knowledge because I was a certified exercise physiology major and I was working at a YMCA. I really knew what I was doing. I was an associate director before I even graduated college. I thought, this is my career. This is what I really like. I enjoyed working at the Y. They were great to me. And then someone from IBM said, you should come to IBM. And I remember getting talked into it. And I look back and I think to myself, why did I agree to that? Because I was leaving something that I knew pretty much everything to something I knew nothing about. I literally did not know anything about computers. And I remember when I went to IBM, have you ever had that feeling when you walk into a situation and people say, I didn't know what anyone was talking about? That's exactly what happened to me. People talked in terms of 9370 and AS400 and RGB cables. I didn't know what anyone was talking about. And I remember my boss, Martha Sheffield, took a chance on me. Now, let me explain. You needed a 3.8 to get into the college internship. I was a 2.1, back from a 0.7, and they took a chance on me. People were pulling for me. People were literally calling her saying, hire this kid. I'll support him. I back him up. He has my endorsement. After about 90 days, I remember going into Martha's office. I had stomach cramps. I did not want to go into that office. I hated going into that office every day because I kept getting feedback. And I'll never forget it. I went in there to quit. I went back to the YMCA. I got my job back. I felt a release of stress and pressure, and I'll never forget it. This is the moment in time that really changed my career, my trajectory of my career. I sat down with Martha. I said, Martha, I'm going to go back to the Y. I'm sorry to let you down. I just don't know what's going on here. I don't feel comfortable. It's really been frustrating to me. And in those days, when you quit, they called security. Security came in and they hauled you out. She smiled at me. I was expecting her to pick up the phone and quickly get out of her office and I'm more comfortable, go back to the YMCA, my comfort zone. And she smiled at me and she said, do you know why I hired you? And I thought to myself, that is the weirdest question because I'm ready to quit. I am quitting. I said, well, no, I don't. She said, I hired you because you needed a break. You needed a chance. IBM on your resume is going to be an awesome thing. I didn't know I was hiring a quitter. And in that moment, I thought to myself, this is really weird. And I said, well, Martha, I'm in your office almost every single day getting feedback and it's always constructive and I feel negative and I'm angry. She smiles at me again. She said, do you know why I call you into my office every day? And this was the moment. This is a verbatim quote. I never screw this up. And I looked at her and I said, no, I don't know why you call me in. She said, I call you in to share things with you like feedback where some people may never share that with you or take the time to do so. What you do with it is your choice. Now I've gone from I'm going to quit to how do I quit on this person? And I remember looking at her and I said, what do you call that? She said, coaching. This is 41 years ago. And in that moment, because I went from I'm quitting, I want to get out of this office to how do I quit? I was overwhelmed with this feeling of how did I just change my whole emotional state? Well, the reason I changed is because she was investing in me. And I sat there and I said, I'm really embarrassed right now because I feel like I'm letting you down. I did not anticipate this reaction. She said, look, if you need help, we'll give you help. We'll hook you up with someone. We'll get you a mentor. Don't quit because you're not a quitter. And I'm not a quitter. I just didn't know what to do. So I got help from my boss. Within 2.5 years, I was teaching 10 different courses. I started the first marketing program, Come Do Your Homework, at IBM. And during those days, we competed with Apple and we were making an inroads. I also also became the statewide printer salesperson because nobody wanted to sell IBM printers. So I taught myself on weekends and it became a huge responsibility of my job. By the time I left, I had more responsibility that went way beyond a college internship because I had somebody who saw something in me, changed my perspective in a moment in time, the defining moment. Every one of us need a coach. Till this day, I have a personal coach, I have an EQ coach, I have a mentor, and now I have a group facilitation coach. See, coaching is a power. I experienced that 41 years ago, and I remember watching Clint Pulver's motivational video, and I thought to myself, that is amazing, because in his video, he would tap during grade school, and kids would yell at him, teachers would yell at him, except for one teacher, Mr. Jensen, who said, I don't think you're a problem, I think you're a drummer. Till this day, he travels the world, playing the drums and doing motivational speeches. 41 years later, I teach coaching, I coach. I probably have some coaching interaction every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Don't underestimate a moment in time, that defining moment that you can receive or impart on others.